we're going to impromptu, literally in the middle of this interview, and a Ruby item dropped. Literally, right? In the middle of it. In the middle of the interview, a Ruby item dropped. Okay.
Reveal it to me.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Forbidden Mountain. It is another episode of the Battle of the Inks. We have Team Ruby representing today with Jacob from Ready, Set, Draw TCG. How are you doing this morning, sir?
I am doing wonderful.
That's awesome.
Enjoying my coffee and thinking about some Ruby cards, dreaming of future ones.
Chugging together. Yeah, so it is Lorcana week. Most likely by the time this goes live, we will already have like more cards. But in the meantime, as of the morning of July 24th, this is when we are recording this. So we are here to discuss who you are in the Disney Lorcana influencer role. So who is Ready, Set, Draw TCG for anyone that may not have heard of you before?
Well, we are a channel of 4 best friends. We've grown up together. We've known each other for 20 plus years, some more than others with each other. But we have found a commonality in our friendship of we always find ourselves playing TCGs together. And it's always like that's the hobby we always share, no matter what we're doing in life. So with Lorcana coming out and all of our, 90s kid, or as I like to call them now, 30s adults, they always trend towards feeling nostalgic for things, and Disney is being one of those things, having a strong IP. We love card games. It just made sense. So we're a channel devoted to like showing our friendship, letting people join in on that fun and entertainment, and just letting people see what people who've played TCGs for a long time and played them together for a long time, see what that's like.
And just because I'm going to give you an even more special rub in this one, the animation and the editing that you do in your videos, and honestly, is like inspirational at sometimes. I think you put a lot of effort and a lot of work into your content, and I love it.
Thank you.
I really, really enjoy the amount of effort that I can tell from like my point of view and where I am. Like I can tell, like, man, he is putting time into this, and I do love those things.
That's something that, like, for instance, this is kind of off topic, but I went to go see a movie recently. I went to go see Oppenheimer, and once you're a content creator and you've put like editing time or anything into your work, you immediately start to notice those things in other work. So like I'm watching Oppenheimer and I'm seeing like J cuts of audio and like, oh my God, that would have taken teams to do that. And it's like a seeing behind the curtain. Like you can see the giant machine working. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And I don't mind getting off topic here even further, but like for me, like I work in the entertainment industry. So I get to see everything before it's built, and I get to see that whole process. And it's like, once you really start seeing it and understanding, man, you're like, man, the appreciation for it grows so much higher because, as a viewer, as an audience member, you walk in and it's there, you're like, oh, here's my movie, here's my concert, like whatever it might be. But the amount of effort that goes into some things is remarkable. And a lot of the stuff that you do, like your lessons videos and things like that, like the editing is so top notch, and I love it.
Thank you.
It's inspirational.
I really appreciate that.
Of course. So we are here today to talk the Battle of the Inks, and you are Team Ruby. So let me know, right? Let everyone know right now, why are you Team Ruby?
Well, the thing is with Ruby, every single person who plays a card game always has that card that inspires them to start. They get that kickoff point. And I feel like Ruby has an abundance of what most people who are new to card games love. And it's the high cost bombs. Those high cost bombs are not just what usually has flashy art or flashy effects. Typically it's like represented in the art. It's literally high cost. So you get the biggest bang for your buck. There's some disappointing bombs, don't get me wrong. Like Gantu could be better, but that's a steal problem. I'll let them talk about that.
Lorcana Dad will tell you otherwise, right?
Okay, well, I look forward to that. The Maleficent Monstrous Dragon, great effect, high cost, good stats, decent lore, but really it's the Mickey BLT. It has everything you want in a card, but it's also among the Ruby Inc. The one thing that is tough in this game in particular is you have to leave your characters vulnerable whenever you want to get your win condition with questing. But the most useful keyword for keeping your characters alive in that is forcing them to have the same keyword in evasive. And Ruby has shown to be the ink that has the evasive or flying keyword among all of their stat lines and all their like mana curve or ink curve. So it seems like it's the color for me because you can have high costed, threatening things and they can be hard to deal with. Meaning my Timmy Hart can make splashy plays and they'll actually stick for the first time. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do imagine it's much like flying in Magic when you're just like, you realize like, wait a minute, nobody can mess with this. It's awesome.
You got to be me to deal with me.
Yeah. It's awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
So speaking of it, he is, your aforementioned favorite character. I don't know why this isn't working, but Mickey Mouse BLT is the favorite character of yours. And from an outsider looking in, wanting to hear about him more, you don't need to convince me of anything. But just the art, as you said, on this card is dominating. All right. It is so different. It's so cool. Anyone that's not even like hyper fixated and familiar with Mickey Mouse and the brave little Tailor character, like this was the face, right, for basically the launch of the game. So it's definitely something that I think will stand the test of time, like within the game. But why is he your favorite character?
He's my favorite character in the game because he's the only one that's boasted a 4 lore count. And I'm not going to pretend like that's not going to pop up again. Surely there's going to be some 4 lore count. I would imagine if you didn't have evasive, you could afford to do it lower on the curve. But having 4 lore with evasive, and I would say a reasonable cost as the game is slowed down, it's more reasonable to get to that 8 ink count. And I think early on in people's testing, they found that like it's either unreachable or the game's over by the time you get to that point. But if you really lean into that strategy, it is completely within your ability to actually get that down and have it be threatening. And one thing people are sleeping on is in a multiplayer setting, the dude is a house. So with this character, it ties in form and function. The art is, like you said, it's like a daring Ruby pose. The Ruby lines all throughout it. The scissors stick out to you. It's the reason that this card was the face of the lessons pretty much from the start. It's the reoccurring character. So it's beauty incarnate. Thank you, Nicholas Cole. Thank you. And Disney Lorcana and Ravensburger. Thank you.
Yeah, right. I have to agree. It really does encapture a lot of what Lorcana is trying to represent. I have to agree. However, you know what doesn't encapture a lot of what Lorcana is trying to do?
Okay, I have thoughts here. I have thoughts.
So here we are, 151 cards deep. We don't have a Ruby item yet. So you can't even have a favorite Ruby item, but you're already committed to Ruby, right? Like you're already like, yes. Anyone that follows you on Twitter will know, like you represent, all right? You represent. And I can respect that. I can respect that. So what do you think, right? We know we're going to get them, right? It's impossible not to get them. We know they're coming. So what do you think a Ruby item can encompass within Lorcana that will make sense for, the entire scheme of the ink?
So I have to think you have to lean into what the ink identity has really shown to be. You have evasives, you have a reliance on beefy cost, not go wide board. It's like a go tall board. And you have the presence of hard, strict removal, like unconditional removal. So I would think that items could lean into that. And I don't know about a removal item because I would think that would be kind of heavy costed if it was the case. It would have to be
similar to like Frying Pan, right?
Yeah,
but like way heavier in cost.
Way heavier, yeah. So I would think that in order to make a Ruby item make sense, the one that I've kind of gone back on time and time again is Magic Carpet. I know it's a character. It has expressive detail in the movie, but I still think it has no spoken lines. It has action. It does things on its own. So it's kind of like an item character blend, but I could totally see either character or item for the Magic Carpet as a whole. And I would think
you could see it as an ally, but I could definitely see it as an item.
Yeah, I could see Magic Carpet being an item that exerts to give evasive to a character until end of turn. That would be like Chef's Kiss.
Yeah, I think it makes so much sense.
Yeah, and then the other one thing that Ruby has done in its lore or its ink identity is lore removal. It can steal lore or remove lore outright from all opponents. And I
Right.
would think that if they wanted to tone it down in terms of multiplayer, they could make an item that exerts, or when you trigger it somehow, it causes
Yeah.
each opponent to lose lore.
Yeah.
I could see that making sense. So
Yeah.
there's room.
I think that would be really good.
It would be really good.
So like, yeah, I think it makes sense. I think it's very fitting for the Ruby, synergies of lore stealing. But yeah, that'd be really good.
The thing is, I think it's a testament to Ruby as a whole that trying to make an item that can do its things immediately
Right.
using the Ruby identities
Right.
would innately feel too strong.
Yeah.
Because
No,
Ruby's just that strong, you know?
it's even, I mean, like, I guess like giving your guy evasive on your turn probably isn't like that
Yeah, that's more of
ridiculous.
that's an answer, really. It's
Right.
not
So
really
like
like a
I think that's where I would definitely see it being fair. I don't know how much that would
Mhm,
cost per se, but like I don't think that would like that to me that wouldn't be warranted uninkable. So like that's
mhm.
a good sign, right? Because we already have enough uninkables. So I think
Yeah.
needing items that are inkable, that are playable will go a long way. So yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think it's great that we're so far in and we haven't seen any, but
Mhm.
like we're already so very excited about Ruby because there's a lot of good reasons. And of course those reasons probably start with the actions. I
Oh,
mean,
yes.
so we have two here. One's your favorite song, one is your favorite action. You can choose the order of how we're going to speak about these.
Okay. Um, so I'd like to talk about Fan the Flames first,
Cool.
actually. So, Fan the Flames is one of those cards that just keeps on giving because in Be Prepared's instance, it's a beautiful thing. It does everything you want because it's 3 words and it makes a statement on the game, but that's all it will ever do.
Yeah.
Fan the Flames is something that as a low cost inkable and an action, it has flexibility. It reminds me honestly of something that Sapphire would do,
Mhm.
but it's like Ruby got it.
Yeah.
So already having the Mulan synergy and the Aladdin Heroic Outlaw synergy of readying to challenge again,
Mhm.
because who cares if you can't quest, you're going to get usefulness out of them for
Right.
challenging.
Right.
Um, Fan the Flames, every single time they print another card that cares about challenging, or in Ruby, what we've yet to see, an exert ability,
Right.
the doors are open.
Right.
Fan the Flames just gets better.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Lady Tremaine. That card is trash, but it's an Emerald. They have to deal with that problem. It's every single time they come out with an action, she gets a little bit better. I think
Yeah.
it's gonna
Yeah.
take a long time for her to get better,
Yeah.
but
She's a cost.
yeah, but Fan the Flames is inkable. So you're never having to weigh that decision of, is there enough synergy to justify this uninkable presence?
Right.
It's just strictly good as a combo piece, or my favorite application that was kind of sprinkled onto me in my
Mhm.
mind,
Mhm.
readying their bodyguard so
Yep.
you can sneak past.
Yep.
Everyone thinks that they can throw down a goofy musketeer and protect their baby Maleficent or
Mhm.
their Lilo, or heck, even something like a Hans
Right.
13th in line.
Right.
They think that they can ready him and that they can, or that they can hide him behind a bodyguard. No, not with Fan of Flames. I'll ready it. I'll take out whatever you were hiding or protecting, and we'll move on with the game under my terms.
Yeah, kind of just like a
Right.
straight bye, Felicia. See you later.
Exactly.
Not today.
Yeah.
I agree. So what about this wonderful, and I think we can all agree, shocking reveal of Be Prepared.
Oh, it is so, so good. Be Prepared is what the game needed,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels really good to see it in the form of, like, they could have made this not a song, and it would have
Yeah,
been a very underwhelming, like, "I'm glad we have it,
but
but
still
you're
played,
never
in
gonna."
my
Yeah.
opinion. But
It's
still
still gonna
played.
play because it's a necessity. That's the
Right.
thing. It's a necessity piece, and the fact that it's a song just took it from, "I have to play this," to, "I want to play this."
Yeah.
It's just
It's
you
like
in yeah, in Ruby, you're looking to get to those higher ink counts,
right.
but getting there can be a tumultuous journey.
Right.
So, Steel typically was the filler ink to kinda,
Yeah.
like, make sure you get there, but now Ruby has a statement of, "I'm gonna ramp not just into a threat, I'm gonna ramp into removing everything you've done, resetting the game, establishing why you should be playing Ruby."
Yeah.
It's good
It's
stuff.
and like my God, the possibilities are just they're scary, right? Like
Mhm.
the fact that you already have a shiftable character, that like you can, if you need to, right? Like don't get me wrong, I love shifting into Aladdin and sending him and separating lore. But now you also have the ability to just go, all right, I have to shift to Aladdin this turn because I just need to reset the board.
Yeah.
And that like just having the ability, right? Just the ability to even do that is so powerful. And it's so good and it's so much fun. And yeah, I mean, this card is just so good.
Yeah. It's something like you're talking about with the Aladdin Heroic Outlaw play. That being able to happen on turn 5 even gives you the ability to threaten that earlier. Right. And I've said this before in I think in other platforms, but the fact that Be Prepared exists means that you don't always have to play it for it to have an effect on the game. It will mentally have an effect on the game because people will be scared to go wide unless they want to go all in and take the huge gamble that everything they do gets reset. So
yeah, and it's like the perfect combination with things too, right? So it's like it's just you're like, yeah, well, if I do go wide and he doesn't have it, that's great, and I'm like, I'll be in a good position. But like the moment you either tap 7 resources or tap your 7 cost card and you don't say this is challenging or questing, they're like,
yeah.
like just, like that's it's so
defeated.
Good. Yeah, and it should be. So let's talk about though your favorite card combination here, which we've definitely hinted at it, right?
Yeah.
So what is it about this play that you really enjoy as part of the Ruby playstyle?
So it combines not only my favorite Disney character over the whole canon. I wouldn't say that Aladdin Heroic Outlaw is my favorite card, like character card, just because Mickey BLT has the evasion and the high lore. But Aladdin Heroic Outlaw, I found that before Fan the Flames came out, he would challenge and typically have one good target, maybe 2. But by the time that you have that one target dealt with, he's exerted. And so on their turn, they will find a way to efficiently remove him where he will not get his benefit.
Right.
So he was left more underwhelming to me.
Right.
But with Fan the Flames, you can, one, guarantee you have a good target because they can't hide behind bodyguards, like I said before. But 2, you know that for the low cost of 1 ink, you can make sure that you get 2 uses out of Aladdin.
Right.
I'm not going to pretend like it's not like magical Christmas land for them to like have 2 viable targets that also leave him alive.
Yeah,
but I think that if you've cleared 2 characters and you lose Aladdin in the process, you're totally fine with that.
Yeah.
You've gained 4 lore, they've lost 4 lore. That's an 8 lore swing on a game that's trying to go to 20. Like that's so good.
No, it's really good. And like the fact that you can do this in theory on turn 6 with like Rush, and Fan the Flames. Now your opponent, again, it's another mind game of the layers here. It's like, well, they know Be Prepared's coming, so they can't overcommit and they can't do these crazy things, so they're worried about that. And then you're just like, okay, well, don't worry about that because I'm going to clear your board with this guy, and still progress my way to win the game all in 1 turn. And yeah, that's really good.
It does all the things you want.
Yeah,
and it rewards you with the win condition. So
exactly,
it's great.
So we've been talking a lot about Ruby, but for you, what is your current favorite pairing of an ink within the rest of them? Like who are you benefiting from most within your Ruby decks?
So for fun, I would say the leading candidate is Emerald, because what Ruby does lack with the exception of Be Prepared or Dragonfire being strict removal, what Ruby lacks is a little bit of flexibility in what it wants to do. So Emerald offers me the flexibility of how I want to answer things. It also happens to give me the same keyword that I love in Ruby, and that's evasive. It doesn't have the same top end threats. It's pretty much limited to Peter Pan and Genie for the evasion, but it still offers the chance to fill that curve a little bit. If I don't want to play Tigger, I can play Genie. And the other thing is offering, like Genie does, offering the bounce lets me say, like, I'm going to gain some tempo here. I'm going to establish a threat. I'm going to remove whatever you were doing. And now you have to contend with, like, I have things that are difficult to remove. So you're going to have to weigh the options of, do you want to remove my thing? Or do you want to play what you intended to play last turn back to the board? So it's something that, like, the colors blend towards towards fun. And honestly, they will be pretty competitive, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But
Yeah.
I just love the play style of having a board full of evasives and tricky things to deal with, and
Yeah.
like maybe small things to kind of lock them down a little bit and make it really hard for them, which
Yeah.
Emerald offers.
And you also have to look
So,
like just the clues even being left by Ravensburger, like that's the starter deck, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
starter deck is Ruby Emerald. So they're
Mhm.
saying like, hey, there's something here. Right?
Yeah,
There's something
and you
here.
can increase your odds of having a base form Aladdin to shift onto,
Right.
because you can play, like, 3 Prince Ali and 3 Street Rat and
Yeah.
really help your odds of having an Aladdin to shift onto
Yeah.
by turn
Just it would
5.
increase the overwhelming amount of great combinations we've already stated.
Yeah, yeah.
What about competitively?
So, competitively, I would say that Steel is probably the most effective pairing, just because while Emerald offers the flexibility, Steel offers basically, like, it's damage based, but it's almost guaranteed to be effective at the numbers you hit with Steel's
Right.
damage. So you can pair like early fire the cannons, or you can try like a grab your swords, because you know you're going to have plenty of characters that can sing that quality of a song. You can throw in Tinkerbell, but really it's because of the most recent reveals we've had with the songs.
Yeah.
If you feel like you are always getting to that point later in the game where you've run out of cards in hand because you've been inking consistently for the need to play those higher ink cost Ruby cards, you have an empty hand. What a time to just a whole new world
Yeah.
and just refill your hand. You may be giving them an advantage too, but I would guarantee by the time you're playing a whole new world to refresh your hand, you're going to be drawing into much higher level threats than your opponent would be.
Right.
If you're drawing into 8 cost, 7 cost, 6 cost bombs, just
Yeah.
laying them down, laying them down.
Right. Like even just Maleficent at this later stages of the game, you're just like, all right, well,
Mhm,
we're gonna draw 7. Even if your opponent is a not like a rush or aggro deck, if they are whatever, you have
mhm,
another be prepared. Who cares? But if they're more of a tempo deck, like you call it, like a go tall, well, then you're like, all right, well, I have the best go tall character in the game in the end. Like literally,
mhm.
I come into play, I banish your dude, and then I'm 2 lore. So like
Yeah,
it really does complement, I think, very very well.
mhm. I think with Tinkerbell too, Tinkerbell has the synergy of she's another character that wants to challenge and banish something to get an effect. So
Yep.
Fan the Flames, it has another target to synergize with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Same thing. You
competitively,
get rid of their crap that you don't want to deal with. Like, see you later,
mhm,
bodyguard, and then just ping it down with Tink.
mhm.
Oh, love it.
It's good stuff. So Steel and Ruby is a very competitive blend to me, and I would fully expect that as long as like an aggro lore rush deck is not like the top of the top
Mhm.
whenever competitive level events start, as long as that's not what's really pushing things, I think
Right.
Ruby will be your Steel companion.
Right.
If it gives really, really fast, I would see maybe Amethyst and Steel being like a top contender, but Steel pairing with Ruby is what I would see as like you fill the entire curve with high quality of card.
Yeah. I can definitely see it. I can definitely see it. So at this point, right, we have been talking a ton about Ruby, and
Mhm.
everyone has had the reasons why you love Ruby and what you're excited about. But now I want to give you the opportunity to convince the community why they should join Team Ruby.
Okay. So I want to look into the camera when I do
I
this.
love it. I love it. All right.
So tell me, community, whenever you are playing a game of Lorcana, there's a useful tool you can use to analyze cards. This is typically used in draft formats, but it's also great for just to recognize what cards are of good quality. It's called the bread formula. B for bomb, R for removal, E for evasion, A for aggro, and D for dud. So Ruby has bombs, Ruby has removal, Ruby has evasion, Ruby even has aggro, and Ruby even has duds. So you can fill the entire bread formula with Ruby cards. Is that something that you want to only apply to draft? I don't think so. I think when you look at card quality, you will see that Ruby has every single good card quality you would ever want. And if you're a fan of playing bad cards, you can also find that in Ruby. I don't play them, but you can if you want to, because that's what the game's all about, is fun. So if you want to play your, Sergeant Tibbs to your heart's content, then I welcome that. But the thing is, Ruby offers you what this game is all about. It's maximizing your fun. Every card that you put down with Ruby is sure to make your opponent say, "Oh my gosh, you just played what?" Oh, and it's going to be a beautiful experience for you. So join Team Ruby today.
I love it. All right. So we're going to impromptu, literally in the middle of this interview, and a Ruby item dropped. Literally, right? In the middle of it. In the middle of the interview, a Ruby item dropped. Okay.
Reveal it to me.
So it is poisoned apple. Okay. It's a 3-cost uninkable, and it has the ability take a bite, 1 resource, and banish this item. Exert chosen character. If a princess character is chosen, banish her instead.
It's niche, but it's my favorite now because it's the only one. It's niche. Okay, so it's uninkable, but princesses do make up a large chunk of the card pool that we have.
Right. So this is going to be filled now. So
dang.
Yeah, poison apple. First of all, I love that that this is what happened, right? Because this is so fitting and it's so good and it makes a lot of sense and the flavor is off the charts.
Oh yes.
But yeah, we can have a favorite item. Like in the middle of the interview, we can have a favorite.
Wow. So the poison apple's 3 ink, uninkable.
Yes.
And it has an exert and pay
it's
1
not an
ink.
exert. It's
Oh,
1 resource and then banish it.
Okay, like frying pan.
Right. But you have to pay a resource. So it effectively will cost 4.
Okay. And then it either exerts a character or it banishes a princess.
Yes.
If it's okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm a little concerned just because a lot of princesses are in Sapphire and they have a wide known trait of having ward.
Yeah, well, they have a whole access to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean Rapunzel, Moana.
I think that is useful.
Mulan.
Yeah,
when Aurora is not in play.
Yeah. Well, even
Ariel.
Aurora, you can't always have 2 Auroras.
You can.
So sometimes that Aurora, when the second Aurora is not in, the Aurora is what you want to get rid of because you have to. So this is a cheaper way of getting rid of a princess, honestly. I'm not sold 100%, but this is definitely something that you can tinker with, and I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
And the more princesses they release, the better it gets.
Yeah. The more poison apples you can throw,
Oh my goodness. That's great. That's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
During the interview.
It's great.
Manifested. Good stuff.
So thank you very much for joining us today, Jacob. Of course, if you are hanging out, you have it, you like the content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, but also check out our guest content. Once again, Jacob, give me all the information about where they can find you.
Yeah, so you can find us on Ready Set Draw TCG at YouTube and at Ready Set Draw TCG on Twitter, or X now, I think is what it's called. And then I also would like to say that we are on Spotify. We have our podcast Ready Set Live that we release weekly. You can just search our channel name Ready Set Draw TCG, or you can search Ready Set Live, or even Lorcana. It all pops up. So keep up on the Spotify podcast. And I would just like to stress to people, I think you can testify to this, Dan. We're always on Twitter talking and engaging with people. So I would stress to any people who are maybe hesitant to like jump on Twitter or something, if you crave like community and engagement with other content creators too, not even just us, it's a great place to get that engagement because we're always there talking to each other, bouncing ideas. It's a wonderful community we have on there.
Yeah, the community, in all honesty, for me, everywhere that we're at, like, is great. The Discord, the Facebook groups are a little more harsh sometimes, but there's enough good people there to have a real conversation. And Twitter is great. I mean, I think a lot of the content creators have, they've honed there, which is really, really fun and really, really interesting as well. So, but thank you so very much, sir, for joining us today. I really did have a ton of fun, and I appreciate, getting up early with me, having this conversation. So thank you so much. Of course, if you enjoyed this, hit that subscribe button, and we will 100% catch you in the next Battle of the Ink. See you.